Hey, you should see some of the weird stuff that I do before I press the record button to get myself in the zone. Maybe one day I'll show you. I just want to talk today about one of the ways in which we tend to make life impossible for ourselves. And it's a really simple idea which I came up with, which has made a huge difference to me in terms of feeling freer from crazy and destructive thoughts and feelings and patterns of behavior and belief, which were so deep that they become part of what I thought was me. Uh, the way I want to explain that is just to tell you a little story, first of all. When I was about, I'm going to say 6 years old, myself and my stepbrother and stepsister were building a wall out in our front garden, right? We live in the Burren, so it's these big chunks of lovely, rough limestone, and we were getting the stones and we were laying them one on top of the other, on top of the other, and we were getting a really sweet feel for how each stone wanted to rest on top of each other stone and how the wall wanted to hold itself together so that it wouldn't fall. And I was really excited. I had the feeling like maybe we were going to come close to rivaling the Great Wall of China. But I mean, I didn't want to compete with the Chinese. I felt like we could collaborate, we could team up, we could join our walls together. Anyway, we'd made about maybe like 3 foot a wall that was about 2 foot high, maybe. And then my stepdad came out and he told my stepbrother and sister to go inside. And he picked up a rock that was bigger than my head and he threatened to throw it at me. He threatened to throw it at my face. And he said, "Here, if I throw this as fast and hard as I can you catch it?" And I said, "No." I said, "I'm just a kid. You're much stronger and bigger than me." And he said, "Yeah, that's right. I am much stronger and much bigger than you. So I want you to remember that every time you ever tell a lie to try to make me look bad again." And I had no idea what he meant, but something I had said the night before he believed was an attempt by me to make him look bad in front of my mother. Um, but I didn't remember doing the thing that he said that I did. And in fact, it wasn't made up. It was he asked me if I remembered one time when he got me some cake, and I said no because I didn't remember. And he thought that I was lying in order to destroy the family. So anyway, he told me that I was not allowed to come back inside our house until I knew why I had lied in order to make him look bad. So he went back in, and I was left sitting out alone in the front garden, under the grey sky, sitting in the grass, kneeling in the lee of the wall. And I prayed to God to tell me why I'd done something which I didn't do. I didn't lie. And I didn't believe in God. So I was praying to a God that I didn't believe in to tell me why I'd done something that I didn't do. Fast forward, like 15 years, and I'm 21 and I'm still trying to live according to a fucking impossible question. It mutated, but the basic shape of it was, why is this thing my fault? What did I do to make everything bad? Why do I deserve all this punishment and this suffering? So, like to pray to a God that I don't believe in to tell me why I've done something I didn't do is just basically another version of the question of like, what is wrong with me that is making all of these bad things happen? And it's an impossible question. There's no answer. There's no real answer. And so an impossible question is a wonderful trap because we can keep asking it forever and never get anywhere. There's no resolution. There is no end in sight. We can just keep digging and digging and digging ourselves into a hole inside our heads and our hearts by asking ourselves things like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with life? Why do I deserve this bad stuff? So asking an impossible question is a great way of making life impossible for ourselves. And I think everyone has some version of an impossible question, How can I make sure that nothing bad ever happens again? That's an impossible question. We can't do that. How can I make it so that I never upset anyone ever again? It's impossible. How can I make sure that, that every single thing is always exactly the way that I want it, or I don't want anything at all. Every attempt to live from like a frozen, traumatized version of an idea of what we have to be and do in order to make everything okay sets up this impossible pattern in our brains where we're trying to find an answer that's never going to come, and it stops us from finding the real answers, the real possibilities, the real truth of who we are in any given moment. And it's a way of avoiding ever actually living our lives, right? Not on purpose, obviously, but that's what it turns into. So we can make life impossible for ourselves by trying to live according to impossible questions which create impossible rules. Maybe you don't have any of those, and if you don't have any of those, then that is beautiful. I'm really happy for you. If you do, I wonder what they might be. If you listen to yourself, if you checked in with yourself, is there something that you're trying to live that's actually making living impossible for you? I'd love to know. Thank you.